Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV on what is a very miserable day here in London. Really miserable day. And I suppose it kind of fits in with what's been a very miserable transfer window again for Tottenham Hotspur. A very, very miserable day, a very miserable window. And Spurs are in desperation mode. I can imagine phone calls are going in here, there, and everywhere. I can imagine the caliber of player is getting less and less and less. And I can imagine that those super fans will be waiting for these average players to sign so they can pretend that this is the quality that Spurs need. They will pretend, won't they? Go, oh, they all might not like him, but this unknown player, he is the missing piece to the jigsaw. You watch, you wait for those videos. They're absolutely brilliant. In the last 24 hours, I mean, let's be fair. We're now a week away. We're now a week ago to when the Eze deal fell through. We're a week ago from when the Eze deal fell through and Spurs have done F all. Spurs have done nothing. We're now a month away from when Maddison done his ACL and from when Sonny left the club and Spurs have done nothing. We're now 48 days ago since Kudus signed. The window has been open for 87 days. This is the 88th day of the transfer window. And Spurs have done the square root of nothing. Hang your heads in shame. And I hope that Lang, Levy and Vinay do not pay themselves for this last 3 months of work, because this has been absolutely shocking. We'll talk about it. There's links with Paqueta of West Ham. There's links with Lookman of Atalanta. There's links with Rabiot. We've been linked with him before. The Mummy's boy, who's a very good footballer, but is he more of a pain in the arse? And is the juice worth the squeeze? Who knows? Who knows what's happening anymore? All I know is that Spurs will be in full panic and desperation mode. People still talking about Xavi Simons. Him and his camp turned us down earlier in this summer. I can't believe that he would join now. But it is Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday. If I'm not wrong, that means there are 5 days. Let me get this right. 5 days, 8 hours and 23 minutes to go. 5 days, 8 hours and 23 minutes to go. Look, I'm at the stage, guys, where I don't even think we can be angry anymore. Like I genuinely think that my levels of not believing in this club anymore have sunk to new lows. There are some fans, by the way, they are in, oh, but if we get one more over the line, it's been a good window. Again, these fans completely ignoring how small the squad is, are completely ignoring the lack of depth. It is what it is. It is what it is. Of course, last night, Celtic knocked out the Champions League. Lots of fans unhappy and want Rodgers removed. Maybe Ange goes back there. Who knows? But it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And Tottenham Hotspur are waiting for these bombers. What most of us call a transfer. We're waiting. Where are they? The worst thing is we're not even seeing that Spurs are in talks with. It's literally dead. There is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. We are a Champions League football team. We are a Champions League football team. Or so we're led to believe. It now makes winning the Europa League look absolutely pointless, doesn't it? Because the joy lasted not very long as we all descended back into another Spursy window. I'll be honest, I'm bored of being told, oh, Sava, you're negative. Sava, you're not logical to your approach. Whatever we do now, by the way, is rescuing. Are we going to agree on that? Whatever we do now is going to be rescuing this window. So I'm just going to message a few people, see if they're about. If not, I'm completely comfortable to go by myself. Whatever we do is going to be rescuing this window. Because whoever we go and sign now, no one's going to tell me it was part of a bigger plan. No one is going to tell me it was part of the plan. Whoever we sign now. You can't get to the last 5 days of the window and start buying your main positions. Now, let me get this right. Right? If you have got, by the way, hang on, I've just seen 2 brilliant comments. Daryl at 10:39 said, just waiting for Matt or Phil Coys to say something stupid. Matt at 10:40. I think we should go for Jared Bowen. Yeah, Jared Bowen's going to leave, isn't he? With 5 days to go. 5 years on his contract and homegrown. That's it. Keep using that brain, Matt. Keep using that brain. Honestly, the fan base, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, look, I'm at the stage where what do we do anymore? What do we say? You know, every window you think, well, it can't be that bad again, and it is. And it is. Listen, would I love Jared Bowen? Absolutely. Are you getting Jared Bowen out of West Ham with 5 days of the window to go when the club is in disarray? No, you are not. Can you imagine West Ham selling Jared Bowen right now? I don't understand. I'm going to try and make this really clear because there are people that don't get this. Transfers don't work like that. You're not going to rock up to West Ham, a club in absolute turmoil, and take their best player when he's got 5 years left on his contract. And the owners know that if they sell him, they would be in an absolute shitstorm from their fan base. I don't know how. I don't think he'd join anyway because of certain reasons, certain connections. But are we really? Do we have fan bases that think fans that think that is possible? I'm so, it's so silly. It's so silly, isn't it? And I will take this comment back if Spurs go and sign Bowen. Now, Paqueta, I get it. Paqueta's wanted out. Still difficult to do with 5 days left. Paqueta has wanted out. He's not homegrown. Doesn't have 5 years left on his contract. I get it. See, again, Matt, I'm not going to do this today with you. Matt, I'm not. No. You're not getting it. You're not using this, as always, Matt. You're not using this. Think about it. Think about why Bowen wouldn't join Spurs with 5 days of the window to go. Just try and use this just for one show. Just for one show. There's a reason why everyone is mocking you in the chat. Again. Stop, Matt. One more silly comment, you're gone. For good this time. You've got to move quickly in the window. You've got to move quickly in the window. You can't sit here with 5 days to go and start talking about, oh, can Spurs go and get Morgan Rogers? No. 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 Aston Villa are not dumb. Aston Villa are not dumb. You cannot go to them and ask for their best player with 5 days of the window. 5 days of the window. You can't. There's got to be joined up thinking. The problem is, as I will say, we have certain portions of this fan base that are as stupid as our recruitment team. There's no joined up thinking. There's no joined up thinking. No joined up thinking at all. Yeah. As I said, I've had the privilege of working for football clubs and seeing how a lot of this works. Not all of it, but a lot of it works. And if a bid went in, let's explain right now. Right? Let's explain right now. If Tottenham Hotspur approached right now, we'd have to ring up Jared Bowen's agent. Jared Bowen's agent, and we'd go, right, hello, Jared's agent, whatever your name is. We want to sign Jared Bowen. And his agent's going to go, you know, there's only 5 days and 8 hours left. We'll go, yeah, we know. We're just really bad. We're really bad in the market. We're really, really bad. But we want Jared Bowen. Is he interested? No. Cool. Yes, whichever one it is. Cool. What's it going to take to get Jared Bowen out of West Ham? Well, I don't know. He's got 5 years. Hang on, let me double check this. Before I waffle, I'm pretty sure Jared Bowen, when I checked earlier in the window, had 5 years left on his contract, right? And that will change what I'm about to say. Jared Bowen of West Ham United. Here we go. Jared Bowen's contract expires in 2030, right? So he's got 5 years left. Hi, Jared. How much West Ham do you want for Jared Bowen? We want nothing. What do you mean? Well, we're not selling him. Why? Well, our fans hate us at the moment. We're in disarray. If I sell you Jared Bowen after selling you Mohamed Kudus with this guy who is our best player, we're going to get him. We're going to get it in the ear. It's never going to happen. If I'm wrong, I'll happily clip this up, put it out myself and say, look how wrong I was. But you can't do it at this time. Right. Matt, think about the timing, Matt. I'm going to try and help you out here. Think about the timing, Matt. There's 5 days of the window to go. Let's go through the players you've named. Mitoma. Are Brighton going to sell one of their best players with 5 days to go? Ask yourself the question. Wissa. Wissa, for me, is definitely a player we should have been in for. All the reports are saying he wants Newcastle and is a striker of absolute priority with 5 days to go. Right? Ask yourself the question. Ollie Watkins. Are Aston Villa going to sell us Ollie Watkins when, first of all, the striker isn't our priority? And second of all, Aston Villa would have 5 days to go to find that Ollie Watkins replacement. Dibbling. Matt, he is not good enough for Tottenham. He's signed for Everton, right? He is not good enough for Tottenham. Jared Bowen has 5 years on his contract. Anthony Gordon has 5 years on his contract. Semenyo has just signed a brand new contract. It would cost a bomb. I would have loved us to get him. I would have loved to have got him at the beginning of the window before he signed a contract. The problem is, it's not just about spouting names. It's not just about spouting names. You've got to take context is huge. Right now, what we could do compared to what we could do 2.5 months ago is very different. Right now, this isn't just about Matt, by the way. Right now, what we can do compared to what we could do then is very different. If you rock up, by the way, I don't think this would have happened. But if you could have rocked up to, let's use this guy as an example, Morgan Rogers. Right, let's use Morgan Rogers as an example. Now, I don't think there's any way, shape or form that they let Morgan Rogers go. However, let's play the game and I'll bring Ben in a second. Big up, Ben.
Yeah. Morning.
If Spurs rock up in June, right? If Spurs rock up the beginning of June for Morgan Rogers and we go, right, what's the state of play? 1, does Morgan want to leave? He doesn't really, but he could be tempted. Okay, cool. 2, what are Aston Villa going to charge for him? Right, well, he's one of our best players. He's got about 6 years left on his contract, whatever it is. We want 100 million for Morgan Rogers, right? Spurs aren't paying 100 million pound for Morgan Rogers. I don't think anyone is. Second of all, Morgan Rogers has come out this window and said he's very happy at Aston Villa. He's been there 18 months. He's broken into the England team. He's the main man. But in June, you can at least find out the information. 5 days to go. You can't rock up to Aston Villa and go, here's 80 million for Morgan Rogers. They're going to go, what are we going to do with that? We're in the Europa League. What are we going to do with 80 million pounds between now and Monday? Who are we buying? How are we replacing Morgan Rogers? Oh, Ben, Dan, welcome. I despair. I despair. Before I bring you in, guys, okjersey.com, the channel sponsor. If anyone would like quality replica shirts, click on okjersey.com or smash the QR code with your QR code scanner. Roughly £15. Roughly £15. If you type in Sava into the coupon, you get 8% off. All different football shirts are on there. Big up to you. Ben, welcome. Dan, welcome. Ben, I'm all for the Let's Play Football Manager game. But I'm also for the let's not just say stupid shit game. Is that fair or am I harsh?
Firstly, I want to say I hope Dan got his coffee and his orange juice because I know he really needed it this morning. So hopefully Beth has found the coffee and the orange juice.
Thanks to the 2 marks, the coffee is on the way.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
Otherwise, I was going to say, do you do Uber?
I'd send you a coffee, Dan, but that's a long way for a cup of coffee to go. I think it's just silly. There are so many attainable signings. If you're going to get a player out of West Ham, the only one you can really get, 60 million, I think, will get you Lucas Paqueta. I think 60 million is about a fair deal. I'd love to sign Ademola Lookman. Again, a very gettable player, 45 million euros. That's about 38 million quid, something like that. Call it something like that, 38 million quid. And then we could make a punt. With Basuma going, I'd love us to try and sign Kobe Mainoo from Manchester United. He's not happy there. He's English. It's a World Cup year. We got to remember, World Cup year. A lot of players, if they're not getting game time, are going to want to try and move to get a spot in the England team. And players like Morgan Rogers, when they know they're the main man, aren't going to leave because they know they've got a starting position. Why is Jared Bowen going to leave? Firstly, his father-in-law would kill him. He would kill him. He would kill him.
Oh.
He's got to start. He's the captain of West Ham. He's the captain. Imagine going to Spurs when you're the captain. That would be Sol Campbell levels, and we don't want to bring that man up. That would be Sol Campbell levels.
Can you imagine how the West Ham fans at this stage, if they sold us Jared Bowen, how the West Ham fans would be in uproar? And I don't just mean online.
There would be riots. There'd be riots on the street. There are players that are gettable. I do agree with you and I disagree with you on players like Mitoma and every player has a price, as Dan would say, but you've got to pay it. And
not
Spurs
with 5 days of the window. They don't. That goes out the window, Ben. For me, that goes out the window.
There would still be a price, but it's an overinflation. So let's say
you can agree all you want. It's not going to happen. Why would Brighton? Right now, let's say Spurs rock up and go, we want 60 million for Mitoma. What do Brighton do in the next 5 days? I don't think
60 million gets you Mitoma.
Right, okay, sure. So let's go 70 million.
That's where I agree, but I disagree. If the price was 60 million at the start of the window, now it's 90. Now it's 90. Morgan Rogers, if they wanted 80 at the start of the window, now it's 100. So you can get these players, but you've got to play beyond astronomical money, which is what Tottenham do. City offered a fair price for Savinho, in my opinion, £70 million. But with the metric, how young he is, you can put him on a really long contract, which you can pay down over a very long time if you put him on a long deal. That's a fair price for him. We offer 69. We can't even offer him 70 million quid. We offer them 69. This is the problem with the ownership we have. Because, again, I don't want to say it because I'm bored of the whole Levy. I would just want to talk about football. I want to talk about football players. But every negotiation in business should be both sides of the deal think, you know what, I got a good deal out of that. Not with our chairman. He believes every business deal is him. He's got to win. He's got to win and pull someone's pants down. At this time of the window, you're pulling your pants down and saying, Please help me.
Of course.
That,
Ben, by the way, I agree with you. If you go in and the deal is ridiculous, like if you go in and you go, right, Morgan Rogers 120 million, I get it. But
that's what I'm saying.
Like
it's not realistic. That's what I'm saying.
Or should be paying 100 million, 120 million for Morgan Rogers. That's the difference, right? And this is the difference between being a well-run, planned football club and not. You can't just go and whack down 100 million for Morgan Rogers if he's not worth it, right? Because we're in panic stations. Like it just doesn't work like that.
You see, sometimes with a player, it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter when you do it, whether it's start of the window, end of the window. They don't want to get rid of the player. But I'm still a firm believer of money talks at the end of the day, and everyone has their price. Whether they despise your club or whatever, I don't care about that bit. As long as they play properly and that, you pay them enough money, they will play for you. You go into Aston Villa now and you say, right, there's 105 million, random example, they're selling up. In my opinion, they will sell up because it is just one of those
Who's
offers.
That?
Aston Villa.
How much?
If you went, say, put 105 million down on the table for Rodgers.
Would you pay 105 million for Morgan Rogers? Like,
I'm just making a point, trying to give an example. Yeah. Probably not the best.
Also, Dan,
because
with that, you'd also have to give the player an overinflated. Let's say, how much is Morgan Rogers on a week? 150 grand a week.
So you can put him on 250, whatever.
250, 300.
What I'm basically doing,
you'd have to turn the player's head to want to go.
Even if this would have been at the start of the season and we went for him again, just a random example, you'd have still been paying over what he's worth, basically, because they don't want to sell him. So you've now got to make it worthwhile. And whether it's beginning or the end of the season, end of the window, it'd be easier at the start. But you go do something like that and put that money down on that deal, they won't turn it down. It's too good to turn down, but we won't go and do it anyway. I'm just sort of agreeing with your point, sort of thing.
I kind of agree, and I don't. I just think with the thing is, 100 million is good money, right? But it's not good money if it completely derails Aston Villa's whole season. And this is where fans don't think how the club works. If we rocked up in the next 2 days and went to Aston Villa, here's 100 million for Morgan Rogers. Aston Villa right now, who can they go and get? Who can they go and get with 4 days of the transfer window left?
Mm-hmm.
That would completely derail their Premier League season, completely derails their Europa League season. And now you have to start looking about how much prize money the club is going to get. It also, the backlash of the player, is the player happy? Sorry, the backlash of the fans. As I said, it's not always this line. Just put the money down. I've said this before. Said it again. Listen to the agents talk. It's not just put the money down. It's everything else that it means to the club. Villa won't lose Morgan Rogers with 4 days of a transfer window to go. They're not done. They're not stupid.
No one said they're done. But at the end of the day, football is a business, and the business part is bigger than the sport part, whether we like it or not. And you go and put a certain amount of money on the table. That's
not true.
You don't think the business is bigger than the football?
But hang on. Do you not think that Aston Villa are going to turn around and go, right, okay, we've got £100 million in our bank that we can't do anything with. And now we've got 6 months till the next transfer window opens. What if now Aston Villa fall off a cliff because they've let Morgan Rogers go? Now they can't make top 4. Now they're not in the race for the top 5. Now they're knocked out of Europa League. So you've got to remember
lose that if they lost one player. If they lost it, I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but do you think they'd lose that if they actually lost him? What I'm basically saying is, at the end of the day, money talks. You put enough money down on that table, basically, whatever way you got to do it, and that sometimes you can make a deal for someone that they just can't turn down.
We've had this chat so many times. I need examples of this, because when I feel like when there's 4 days to go in a window, this rule go
on. Like when Barcelona, I know it wasn't quite at the same time at the end of the window, but someone paid extortionate prices for someone who really wasn't worth that money. Barcelona sold Neymar to PSG. You telling me he was worth 200 mil?
No, it wasn't worth 200 mil, but we're talking about a different scenario here.
No, but what I'm saying is they paid the extortionate price for him that Barcelona couldn't turn down. And then Barcelona also made the same mistake with what's his name from Liverpool,
Coutinho,
where they didn't want to sell him, but they gave him such a bloody good offer. They had to say goodbye. Now I get the timing.
That was a blessing in disguise, though. To be fair, Dan, because with that 125 million, they bought Alisson and they bought Van Dijk, and they went from being a decent team to being a quality team.
Exactly.
They took the money and spent it. You're giving Villa four. This is the frustrating part. Watch any agent talking a podcast. Watch any football agent talk. The people that are in it. Now you've given the football club 4 days to replace their best footballer.
It's not going to help for sure.
It's not going to not help. It's not going to happen. It would if Spurs went to Aston Villa with a month to go. I don't know. By the way, I don't think Morgan Rogers is leaving anyway. By the way, the guy has come out and said he's happy.
That's where I'm agreeing with you. So I agree with both your points because Dan is right. If you offer unbelievable money, stupid money, and that's why it won't happen because it is stupid. It's unrealistic. It is borderline playing Football Manager, and that's why it won't happen. There's got to be a realistic.
Do you know when it will happen? Do you know when it does happen? Alexander Isak has come out again and said, "I will never play for Newcastle again." Yeah. Right? You whack big money down, i.e., let's be fair, one club. Liverpool whack big money down. That will happen because Newcastle have almost planned for life without Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
The difference is Morgan Rogers has signed a new deal, said he's happy. Aston Villa haven't started settling for life without him. If you rock up to there with 4 days to go, by the way, we say 4 days to go, Ben. I'm saying, sorry, it's 5 days to go.
Also, they've made contingency plans. They've already got Wissa. If they got the 130 tomorrow, Wissa's in next day. Done. Replacement's already sorted.
And they can go to Wolves and go, right, you wouldn't accept 55 for Strand Larson. Here's 65 for Strand Larson. The difference is you're asking Aston Villa, who have got no plans to lose this player, to start going, right, when this deal gets towards being completed, you're talking about 2 to 3 days of the window left. You're talking about Villa rocking up across the world going, we want this quality player. People are going to go, you're mad. We've got 2-3 days left. How are we going to replace?
And there's also the point, if they know they've just got 105 million in, for example, they're going to up their prices as well because
I totally agree with all of it. The only point I'm making is I don't care whether it's the start or the last day of the window. There's always a price you can pay. And Spurs just don't pay that.
But that's not true. You can disagree all you want. I'm waiting for examples.
Berbatov, last day of the season.
I mean, Dan, if we want to go back 20 odd years ago, cool. Can we talk about?
You asked me for an example.
Yeah,
you asked me for an example.
Sure, but let's keep it to
the money in football's different now.
The money is ridiculous.
I'd offer Zidane in that argument as well, but it's such a long time ago, and the inflated incomes, and of course, football clubs in Italy run different to football clubs in the UK. If it was Italy now, if we were an Italian club bidding on Morgan Rogers and offered them stupid money, they'd say, done. There you go, take the money. Because that's how Italian football works. There's always they will always sell a player. We shouldn't even be talking. It's not happening. It's ITKs.
Just an example. That's all.
ITKs not as a football club. Aston Villa, I can assure you, you can go and drop 100 million right now. Aston Villa are going to go, what do we do with 4 days with 100 million? Right? Now, we can go, that's money they can't refuse. Sure, but look at how much prize money they'd lose if they got knocked out of the Europa League. Look at the Champions League revenue they might not get if they don't have a player like Morgan Rogers to help them get in the top 5, for example. Right? Look at the unsettling of the squad 3 days before. Monchi isn't that stupid, Aston Villa. If they let him go, I'll come back on it and I'll apologise.
It's not happening. It's not happening. We know that. No, not unless Spurs was to go and put down 120 million quid on the table and say, right, there you go, take it or leave it. And again, we just agree to disagree on it. I get at the times and everything like that and everything, but I do feel that everything on this planet has a price. Sometimes you just have to play stupid to get what you want. It wouldn't be convenient.
Except for liking the stream, Dan, which is absolutely free. So go and make sure you like the stream because there are
I want to ask about, like I said, you're on a message tab, but the one I want to ask about is I had my mate ring me up at about, from what I remember, it must have been about 11:30 last night, if I remember right. Yeah, something along them times. Talking about Sancho coming over. And I've done a bit of reading this morning on it about Sancho being offered to us as basically a free loan for the season and Man U paying all his wages. I'd take that up.
He breaks the no dickheads rule, Dan. He breaks the no dickheads rule.
So are you saying you'd want Sancho?
I wouldn't say no to Sancho on a total freebie and not having to pay his wages.
Oh God, no. No, sorry, I'm not having that one at all. That we're gonna have to disagree again. Jadon Sancho has done absolute the square root of nothing for how many years? Why would we want him at Tottenham?
The situation we're in at the moment, are we really in a situation where we can say no to things? Now, if we had to pay for it,
I'd rather have Odegaard than Sancho.
Yeah, I don't know what he does.
I'd rather have Odegaard.
I don't know. I don't think so. I've seen Odegaard be. I mean, I've seen Sancho be really good when he got played to his advantages, basically. And ever since he came to England and played at Man U a total different way to Dortmund, and Chelsea played a different way. No, he hasn't looked right. But if someone offered him on a free, they was going to pay his wages for the year and everything. Isn't that just a little bit of depth there, at least?
Manny. I mean, Jadon Sancho. If that happens, God help us. What a terrible football club we are if we buy Sancho.
We're that point, isn't it? Big up everyone, by the way.
Big up, Manny.
Yeah, mate. Not buying, by the way. We're offered him on loan. From what I read, we're offered him on loan, and they are willing to pay his whole wages this season as well. Basically, free for a year. I'm not saying buy him.
Yeah, it goes back to where we're at the window and where the board has got us to at the moment, whereby we're considering players like Sancho. If we're talking about, does Sancho inherently have quality as a football player in the TED and on the left-hand side? Yes, he does. Has he shown it at United and even on loan at Chelsea? At Chelsea, maybe somewhat, but again, not consistently enough. Mm-hmm. But then the question goes back down to the same thing. Is his character good enough to come into a squad like ours, whereby at the moment there is so much unity for it not to be disrupted? I think that's what it comes down to. And I think he's had enough chances even at Chelsea to show that he's got to show a different side of him, and he hasn't. And I think that's what it goes down to. I think that is the issue that we have at the moment. Do you bring in someone that has the potential of disrupting the dressing room? Is the question that Frank would have to answer. Do I think he has quality in his pump? He does. So I don't know.
That was shown, Manny. I want to counter this. I'm in a countering mood today.
Yeah.
Can I ask, where has this been shown? Because his last 4 or 5 years as a pro footballer, he's produced fuck all. What? So
that's the point.
Where are we talking about said quality?
Dortmund. So he had the quality at Dortmund. He went to United. It was a disruptive time, right? So he went in when Ten Hag was there. Didn't work. Amorim came through when the relationship had already been scuppered between him and United, so that he was never going back there. He was never going to be given the chance, regardless. And at Chelsea, he had certain moments where he showed that quality, but it wasn't consistent enough. And the moments that he showed, the quality that he showed in those moments was enough for Chelsea to consider to bring him in. They didn't bring him in the end. Sorry, they didn't bring him in the end because of an issue with his salaries. They weren't able to agree salaries, but that was not as a result of them not liking what they saw. Is basically the point I'm making.
When he went back out to Dortmund as well, he looked a lot more stable again. Again, some players can only play their way, and that's just it. Some players can do that, where some players are a lot more adaptive, this and that. I reckon there's definitely quality there. You can see it. My point of it is, is that if he's offered to us on a freebie and we don't even have to pay his bloody wages, I think a few people are saying, I am looking at buying him. No. From what I've read, he's been offered to us on loan. We don't have to pay no money for him, and Man U are going to pay all his wages.
I'd rather have bought Grealish, Dan. I'd rather have bought Grealish.
Oh, but we haven't. We were saying, a lot of us were saying this at the start, and a lot of people saying that Grealish ain't bloody good enough. Simple as that. But it ain't happened. It's done. It's dusted. We are now in a position now where I don't think we're in that sort of position to stick our noses up to many players. Even if he is just taken in as a depth player, basically, for free, no wages for him and everything for the season. For me, I think I'd rather give him a go than bloody Odebert or Tell on the win.
But why are we even in this position?
I just feel like this is what the club have done to us, right?
Yeah.
I can't entertain this as a serious conversation in any way, shape, or form. I don't want him at all.
Yeah.
We talk about Dortmund. That was in 2020, 2021. It's nearly 2026. Like he's had nearly a 5-year stint since then of not really doing a lot for a number of managers, for a number of clubs. I know we're not the greatest club in the world, but Sancho?
Okay, let me just put it a different way then. Tell Odebert.
Sure. So you want me to replace average wingers with another average winger? Like I genuinely don't know.
An average winger with a terrible attitude, Sava. An average winger with a terrible attitude.
$200,000 a week.
Yeah.
When he went back to Dortmund, he actually looked bloody good again because they played him to what he's good at.
I have to agree with Dan on one thing, right? Because I know we keep saying he's got a bad attitude, but when he was at Dortmund, and the issue that he had was his lateness to training, right? That was the issue he had.
They physically had to employ someone to get him out of bed and take him to training.
100%.
I don't want that. If you can't get out of bed in the morning, I don't want you playing for my football club. That is ridiculous.
Can I just say something, right? It seems to be a modern day issue at the moment with this training lateness. It's not confined to Sancho at the moment. But all I'm trying to address is the bad attitude side of it, right? He had a situation where he was having getting to training on time issues. Then he went to United. At United, his issue was not application itself. He had a situation whereby he wherever he is that he went through mentally, I'm not entirely sure, right? And then he had a fallout with Ten Hag about training, because Ten Hag literally said that he was not available for training because he was not applying himself well for training. What he went out and said was he was applying himself for training, and that's where the clash happened. But if you look at post that situation, right, he went to Chelsea, didn't have any issues with them on, turning up for training. He didn't have any issues with them in terms of understanding instructions. And he just had a few players there that had a bit more quality than he had. And then he also went on loan at Dortmund, whereby he actually did play like consistently, especially in the Champions League campaign, where he contributed very, very much until I can't remember whether they got to the final or not during that campaign. So I don't think, basically the point I'm making is I don't know whether this issue of his attitude is really there. I think we should probably focus on his quality. If we think his quality is not,
I don't give a shit about his attitude, Manny.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking at him for the last 5 years and saying, what's he done? Like in 5 years, he's not had one season where you go, wow. He's not had one season where you go, stand out. Like, and that's playing for Man United and Chelsea. He's not been playing at. He's not been playing at like Southampton. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
No, he's been playing at nearly just as bad at bloody Man U, even though they've won a cup or two. They have been absolutely shocking and one of the most rearranged clubs.
They finished second one of the seasons that Jadon Sancho was there.
One of them, yeah. One of them. Well, they have been after that, haven't they? Look at what they've been recently in that. At Chelsea, he wasn't that bad at all. When he went back to Dortmund, they played him exactly to what he is good at playing at, because I think he's a very, how shall I say, one-dimension player. He can only play his way, sort of thing. And if Frank thinks he could, I wouldn't say no to him there.
I think he's been misprofiled. Genuinely, I think he's been misprofiled because when he was at Dortmund and they had what's his name, Haaland there, he was not really a left winger. He wasn't a left winger. He was a 10. He was playing in behind Haaland all across the pitch, and then was feeding him left, right, center. He went to United where Ten Hag was playing him in a 4-3-3 and decided that he was a left winger. He was never really a traditional left winger. So I think he's genuinely been misprofiled by all the managers that have come in after Dortmund. And when he went back to Dortmund, he was being played in that free role again. And that's where he thrived again. So I don't know. I don't know whether like let me just clarify, right? The point I'm trying to make, Sava, is that we should not be in this position regardless, right? We shouldn't be in this position. What we should be doing is picking up the phone and going for real targets. And if Sancho was then offered to us on a free, then have him in as an additional depth rather than anything else. But yeah, that's where the club has got us to at the moment. So
it's the situation. It's the situation we're in, isn't it, at the moment? Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying I'd take him is because from what I've read, it's been offered. We don't have to pay no money for him to get him on loan, and they are willing to pay all his bloody wages as well. That at least gives us a bit of.
I don't think United are that desperate. I know they want rid of him.
I think they're taking news as well. I think so. You're right. Yeah, go on.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I'm only saying by what I've read. I'm only saying by what I've read. But then he ain't going to get in their team this year, whatever else and that. Yeah, if that gets offered to us like that, I don't think the problem is. I don't think we are in a position where we can really say no to that in the aspect
we massively are. He is shit.
Really?
What are we doing here? Sorry. I'll call it out. What the fuck are we doing here? Yeah, we're not in the greatest position in the world, but Jadon Sancho. Like, are we at the stage?
I'd say he's better than Tel and Odebert. He ain't going to be no worse.
I don't think he is.
Marginally. I mean, he's done fuck all for years. When we're saying he's better, he's older. But what's in? And I don't rate Tel or Odebert, but I'll be honest, I'd rather have Johnson out on the left than Sancho. There you go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I
don't even rate him as a footballer.
At least Johnson is dependable for what he's good at, which is scoring goals. I don't think Sancho is a dependable footballer. I don't think he's dependable at all.
But wouldn't you say there's at least a bit? Wouldn't you say there's at least a bit of depth there if it's just a freebie given to us? I'm not saying
not if that depth causes you more problems than it does solutions. I'd think Odebert is a better squad player than Jadon Sancho is. I don't rate him. I see that as talented in the kid, and we've seen that he's improved over the pre-season. He's got slightly better. Sancho doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything.
Are we talking about
Sancho? But he did. When he went back to Dortmund, he was one of their main players.
Was that 3 years ago? That was like 3 years ago, wasn't it?
2, I think it was, wasn't it? Something like that.
But guys, are we talking about Sancho because you've seen a report saying that it's advancing, or what are we talking about here?
No, I'm only talking about it through what my mate told me last night, and I checked it up, that Man U are supposedly willing to let him go for a season on loan. This is where I think a few people are mixing it up, that I'm saying buy him. No, not a chance. But a season on loan where they're willing to pay his wages for him because he just ain't going to get in the team at Man U. And I think we're at a situation at the moment where we've got such a lack of depth at that squad, where that is something I think we should see.
I don't think we're that desperate. No, I don't think
for Sancho's. Not for Sancho's. No.
Okay.
Because Johnson is not the best footballer in the world. We can all agree with that. I'd rather him as a left winger scoring goals than Jadon Sancho being a menace in training. I'd rather have Brennan Johnson there. The priority is an attacking midfielder and possibly two of them. Because I'm okay with Johnson at left wing and Odebert as his backup. I'm okay with that.
But no one said he comes into our first team.
I want Ademola Lookman because he can play on that left wing and he can play in the number 10 as well. That's the guy I want.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we should be looking at.
One thing you can say is that even over the past 5 years, if he's been that terrible, we've still done more than bloody Odebert and Tel. Yeah, play Johnson there, but I'm talking about a bit of depth for the squad if it gets offered on a bloody freebie. That is the situation we are in at the moment, where we have got absolutely no depth
We'd just
Something
be adding
happens out
more
there.
average wingers to a pool of average wingers. That isn't that the point? Like we've got average wingers that can step in.
Yeah,
but not significantly better than these players that you would want him for a year loan and give him 200 odd grand a week. Like it just doesn't.
You missed what I said. Man U, supposedly meant to be willing to pay his whole wages, literally a free for a season, because Man U just don't want him.
If Man U don't want him that much for their depth, right? And Chelsea weren't willing to pay 25 million quid to take the bloke, and Dortmund haven't managed to seal a deal to get this guy over the line, why on earth do we want him at Spurs? Like, I'm not
saying we want him, but I'm not exactly in a position where I can exactly say no to certain players at the moment, unless they are significantly worse than well. Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that, but I think he gives me better options than Tell.
Sure, let's agree to
disagree. He gives me better options than Tell.
The moment he said no to Roma, and Roma gave him favourable terms, Roma put in a really good the moment he said no to Roma, I'm just like, your attitude stinks, mate.
Yeah, that's a good point, to be fair. Like the fact that
stinks. They offered him a brilliant football club in Roma. They offered him a chance to get his game back. Go to Italy. The moment he said no, your attitude stinks.
How much money?
The player. He doesn't produce enough. He's not a team player. I don't want him at the football club. Absolutely.
That only matter if it's quality, though. Like we're falling into that trap again.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no point having depth if it's not quality depth. There's no point. If you're saying Odegaard. Can't believe we're having this conversation. If I'm saying
that's the situation we are in.
No, but it's a situation you want to put us in. I don't want us to be in that situation where I'm judging between Odegaard and Sancho, right? If you've got a left winger that starts, let's say Brennan Johnson. Let's say Spurs don't buy a left winger and Brennan Johnson starts there. Fine, okay, Brennan Johnson starts there. And we're talking about someone who comes in every now and then or for 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game. Does it really matter if it's Sancho or Odegaard? Does it really? I think
that's the point.
Really matter?
I totally get you. But if one's better than the other, then it does. And he gives us just that little bit of depth on the left, on the right, and at the 10.
He don't score goals, right? Sancho doesn't score goals, gets hardly any assists. I get the argument if you lot could give me something that he's done or some evidence, but there isn't any. His stats are crap.
I think his evidence
for the last few years has been questioned.
The evidence
no club wants him.
When you play him the right way, you will get a significantly better player out of him because he can only play one way. The only option I'm making is if it is just a total free, it adds better depth than what we've got in the aspect of Tell is that goddamn crap that he don't even know if he scored a goal. And it's the situation we're in at the moment. I mean, and I think he's better than bloody Odegaard as well, which isn't bloody hard because I think it's that crap. I'm not saying you have to start him, but then if we're in a sort of situation, he can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play as a 10. And when he did go back to Dortmund and they played him his way, he stood out again. My point is, we are in such a situation now, which is none of our fault, that we're arguing about Sancho, Tell, and Odegaard, for God's sake. I mean, it only takes that one injury and we are absolutely screwed. So even just having that bit of depth.
But sure, why Sancho? Is there no one better you can get on loan from across world football than Jadon Sancho?
If there is, then bloody do it. But all I was saying is if it's getting offered to us on a total freebie, I wouldn't say no to it. Because that is the situation I think we are in. And I think if anyone's going to be honest with themselves, same.
Well, clearly not. You're suggesting it. Clearly not. Your head doesn't hurt. You're suggesting bringing more.
Oh, mate, at this moment,
you
don't know how much my head hurts right now.
But you're suggesting bringing more underwhelming footballers to the club to solve a problem. That doesn't solve a problem. It gives you more of a headache.
At short term, I think
at the end of the day, just bring in Ademola Lookman. He's 45 million euros. Atalanta want to sell him. Just fucking buy him.
I agree with that. But will we go and do that? Do you know what? Even if we went and got Lookman and then still got offered Sancho as a total free and not having to pay his wages or nothing, well, sometimes you take that chance, don't you? Sometimes you hit or miss on that. No.
If we go and get Ademola Lookman, in no way at all do I want Jadon Sancho coming to the club as well. No.
I'd be looking at depth when it comes down to that part and a bit of cover. And yeah, he wouldn't be a first team player in that, but I don't care what any of you try and say here. Yeah, do not tell me he has not shown in his life that he can do better than Odegaard and fucking tell.
Sure, but about 5 years ago, when he was probably their age.
Even when he went back to Dortmund, he stood out straight away as soon as. Watch his games at Dortmund.
I'm asking.
He actually stood out.
What,
he had
doing what?
He had a couple of assists, couple of goals, and he was very good at holding the ball as a number 10, basically.
I reckon we'll get that probably from Odegaard. Couple of goals, couple of assists.
Really? Again, I've seen 15 since he's been at Spurs. I've seen 15 good minutes off him,
mate. And every time I watch Jadon Sancho, I'm completely underwhelmed. You've got to remember, you're talking about the Jadon Sancho from when he was 19 and hyped and Man United wanted to sign him.
No, I get that.
Since then, he's done absolutely... We might as well get Dele Alli back if we're going to go. If we're going down this route, we might as well take Dele Alli on a free. Depth. We know what he used to be. That's the levels that we're at, right?
I'd rather sign David Ginola now.
I agree, but mate, I don't want any more poor footballers to be coming to this football club.
Then fair enough, but it's just a risk I'd be willing to take if it was given to me for free, where I can't really go wrong. Where in the aspect of, do you know what? If it just really ain't that you ain't doing no good here, we can just kick him straight out, basically. Sort of.
I think there are,
and we're not paying nothing for it. It just gives us that little bit of depth that we ain't bloody got. One injury on it.
We have got depth there. You see, you're mixing the words. The words you're using aren't right. We've got depth in that position. It's the quality that we haven't got in that position. So we need to go by quality. Okay. You don't add more depth of inability. We're literally saying, right? We're literally saying, our boat is sinking because the hole is that big. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just make the hole that big so that it sinks a tiny bit slower. Rather than actually, let's go and board up that hole so that we don't sink at all.
That's obviously what I'd rather do. But we're talking about Spurs here and look at the situation we're in. And he's better than Tell and Odegaard.
But sorry, in my opinion, again, I keep going back again to the whole point. That's the reason why I was asking the question, right? First and foremost, yes, we should be looking at the likes of Lookman. We should be looking at even the likes of Paqueta at the moment, with the fact that he's making, rumblings and wanting to leave the club. I personally don't think Sancho is as bad as people are making him out to be. I don't think he is a left winger. I think that is key. I don't think he is a left winger. The best, last season he scored 10 goals and 5 assists. Obviously, 5 of those goals being in the Conference League, and then 5 of those goals being in the league. I don't think he's as bad. If we're looking to have a 10 cover because we can't find anybody in this window, then good. Okay, cool. We could do that. If we're looking for a left winger, he's not even the profile of what.
So we're saying Sancho is a 10 now.
What I'm saying is that he is better in the 10 than he is in the left.
He's not coming anyway. Can we move on from it?
But that's my point. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we even talking about Sancho in the first place? To be completely honest, because we've got Lookman, who's out there, 40 million euros, not pounds. 40 million euros he's available. We've got the likes of Paqueta having an interview after he was exonerated from his whole thingy, saying that he wants a new pastures anew. Like there are options out there that this board should be looking at, and Sancho should be the last thing on anybody's mind, in my opinion. I'm just stating in general. I don't think he's a left winger in general. I think he's a 10.
He's better as a 10 or on the inverted on the right. Because all I was saying basically.
Who's he played 10 for?
Dortmund, that's where he
played.
At
Dortmund, he was a 10. He wasn't really. He wasn't a winger at Dortmund. He was a winger at when he played for Ten Hag, and he didn't work. He was a winger for Maresca, and he was a bit part player. So to me, it's not even a conversation, to be honest.
It's a bit of the same thing of Kulusevski sort of style. We can handle it out on as inverted on the sides, but he is actually better as a 10. That's all I was saying. Was it was just a hit and hope sort of thing, like to give us a bit of depth in that, because I don't think he's anything worse than what we've already got there. But it's not the full-time option. I think we're at that moment now. How many days we got left? 4 days?
Yes,
is it 5 days? You know, we're up shit street at the minute.
Yeah. I'm just looking in his career, by the way. What you guys are saying doesn't add up. It's not true. I'm just looking. In his career, he's played 175 games as a left winger, 114 games as a right winger, and 20 in attacking midfield.
No, I disagree with that. I've seen him play as a number 10 for Dortmund more than 10 times. He used to drift in there and play, and they used to play him as a 10 plenty of times.
Right, well, transfer market have got it wrong then, but I've just looked at transfer market and MB data. Okay. They're all saying the same thing. There's nothing really in it about him as an attacking midfielder.
But the thing is, at Dortmund, when the people were proper interested in him and that, he played at a number 10 plenty of times. But either way, if it ain't going to happen, it ain't going to happen. Whether it was just an idea, and he's clutching at straws, because we are at that moment now where we literally have to clutch at straws. Because otherwise,
I don't even think we're scraping the bottom of the barrel anymore. We've gone through the bottom of the barrel, gone all the way through the ground, and gone at the other side of the planet. This is beyond that.
That is how much trouble we are
in. Sorry, Stefan, by the way, I haven't had a bitchy fit at all. I'm just strong in my convictions and say what I think. If you don't want to be here, fuck off. There you go. I'll have a bitchy fit at you prick. Fuck off. Hate people like you. Yeah. Do you want a show where we all sit here and agree? If you do, yeah, go and watch We Are Tottenham TV or something like that. All right? Don't come here and start being a mug. Absolute prick. Sorry. I've got no tolerance for fucking idiots like this. Sorry.
I mean, like,
I know.
Rabiot.
What did I miss?
If we go for Rabiot.
Pricks like Stefan. Prick. This guy is a prick.
If we go for Rabiot, yeah, that's another way. He hasn't been good over the past couple of years, but we all know he's a quality player. On his day, he can be a very good player. Quality is too much. He can be a good player on his day. Again, gives us that bit of depth that we really don't have. And but no, a lot of people would say, no, don't want to touch him here because he refused us how long ago and that. Again, we are in a situation at the moment where we are, can we even be affordable to stick our noses up for anyone if it's a good deal on a freebie, or if it's we are in a real deep situation at the moment.
Dan, I think if you refuse Sancho because of attitude, then you're not looking at Rabiot at all, are you? Because every single thing he's been in, he's literally caused a whole lot of trouble. A whole lot of trouble. Him and
a lot worse than Sancho.
A lot worse. So, but what position does he even play? Is he a 6? Isn't Rabiot a 6?
Rabiot. So isn't the shame with Rabiot that he is a fantastic footballer, right? He's a very, very good midfielder. But again, it's another one where all throughout his career, it's the baggage that comes with it. His mum as the agent, apparently his mum knocking on managers' doors saying, why isn't my son playing? Listen, the player, yes, but everything that comes with it, I don't know. And then what you're asking for then, isn't it, is you're asking for Thomas Frank to have the chat with him and absolutely get the best out of him, that he's going to really come to the party, really going to mature. He's not shown it yet, but a good footballer. And this is what we're left with. Sancho's, Rabiot's. We're left with all the people that seem to move around all the time for a reason. It's I don't want him. I don't want Rabiot. I'll say it. Great player. Not great, good player, but I don't want him.
Yeah. Also, I think I was saying this in a group chat that I'm flipping out. Why is everyone just messaging me now whilst I'm on? I was saying this to a few people in a chat that I was in. Right. I think one very good quality that Frank, again, I know it's just 2 games, but that Frank has shown is his rotational ability, right? The fact that against Burnley, he rotated that midfield because he knew it was going to be a tasking game against City. And even that game, when I saw the lineup, I was thinking, what is Frank doing? But clearly he knew what he was doing. He said to himself, listen, this is a game that we can win as long as we've got the spine within the team. And doing so, he was able to rest Paqueta, what's his name? Bentancur and Paulinho. So I'm thinking, maybe do we even need Rabiot right now if he's not a surety in terms of his attitude? If we're going to be able to rotate the way we're rotating now, I think we should be focusing on the 10, on the left wing, because those are the areas that at the moment we know factually we either haven't got any quality or we've got 2 quality players that are not back until February, March next year. That's what I would do.
Don't you think we still need a centre mid as well? If Basuma goes, don't you still think we need a centre mid, Manny? We've got 4 competitions. Bentancur and Paulinho are injury-prone footballers. Mm-hmm. And you've got a lot of games to rely on Archie Gray, Bergvall and Sarr. That's a lot of games without a senior pro amongst them if the other 2 drop, isn't it?
Well, I suppose...
I'm not saying Rabiot. I'm just saying centre mid.
Yeah, in general. Yeah. The answer to your question would be yes. But if I'm thinking about it from a resourceful point of view, because we are Spurs fans, I'm thinking, right, but if we do get 10, then you have a situation where Sarr does not necessarily always need to play in that 10 position as a pressing 10, but he can then become rotation in that 8 position with Bentancur as an example. As to whether we think Gray is enough good cover for Paulinho, we all know the answer to that. So probably yes. If I've got my Spurs cap on, I think between now and the end of the season, we're probably, if we're lucky, we're going to get 2 senior players to come into the team. And if I need to choose between a 6, a 10, and a left winger, I'm choosing a left winger and a 10 rather than the 6 at the moment.
Yeah. By the way, I'm just seeing reports this morning that Villarreal are in talks for Mikatadze of Lyon. Really? Another player that I really, really like.
Wow.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. I mean, Dan, let me come to you. With Basuma going, it does make it interesting now in that midfield area because, we've seen that Bentancur has injuries every year. He does. He misses a lot of games of football. We've seen that Paulinho gets injuries. Surely we can't be in a position where we're left with massive Champions League games and Bergvall and Gray as our 2 central midfielders, can we? Surely we've got to... Don't we have to get something in there as well? It's a mess because of 5 days to go. But
it depends what you call something and how desperate we are, doesn't it? Is it better, instead of just clutching at straws and going for someone to cover the position because we've got no depth there, is it better that we just get nobody there? I mean, how my point is, like we were just talking about Sancho, now in midfield, the players out there are not, unless you put some big money on the table, you ain't getting people because it's too much piss balling about for everyone and that. So
why can't we get some good loans? Why can't we try and get Conor Gallagher?
So the stuff that is out there, I thought, well, I've been told enough times Conor Gallagher would never ever join Spurs for the reason that he's Chelsea to the heart sort of thing. But things might have changed.
Maybe Chelsea to Spurs is different from Atletico to Spurs, isn't it?
Maybe it is. I mean, we could at least try. But then you know what happens with try as well. The most we can do is get turned down for it. We are in a situation at the moment that we are in this much trouble that we are desperate to at least get some depth in that team, let alone improve that first team. And you know me, I'm the first one to say, like, I'd rather improve the first 11 than the depth. But with a couple of days to go, we don't know what we're going to go out and spend with the money. Will Levy spend extortionate money on a good player in that? I just don't see it happening. He's never really done it before in that. So what do we then do in the middle? How low can we go? I wouldn't say no. I mean, how low can we go to make sure it improves on Archie bloody Gray. Like I was saying with Sancho, if we played him on the bloody left, it ain't going to be no worse than fucking Tell. And we go and get someone like in a midfield just on loan, as long as they have got the capability, let alone the skill and that, to at least play in the Premier League, which Archie Gray has not got in the midfield. We've at least strengthened ourselves a little bit. The point I'm basically trying to get at with everything is how desperate we are, how low will we go, and how much can we still stick our noses up to certain players when we've actually got an Archie Gray or a bloody Tell.
I hear you. I hear you. I think midfield is very, very different. Midfield, you can't just have somebody that's okay. You've got to, we're going into Champions League games. You've got to. I just can't believe we're sitting here with 5 days and 8 and 7 hours to go, and we are so light in the forward areas, in the midfield. I think we're okay at the back. I think we're okay, unless we get a major injury at the back. I think we're okay for depth. Van der Ven and Romero, Danso, Davis will do a job. Takai's coming back. Dragosino will be back in December. Fullback, you've got, Gray can play there if push comes to shove. You've got Porro, you've got Adogi, you've got Spence who can play both areas. The centre mid, the attacking mid, and the left wing worry me greatly. Worry me so much.
Sava, in this system, where do you think Gray is deploying Bergvall? By the way, because he is he looking at him? Do you think he's looking at him as a 10, or do you think he's looking at him in Bentancur's position? Because obviously, if he's looking at him in Bentancur's position, then you could argue that obviously we've got Bentancur and Palhinha. He doesn't need that cover. And that would probably maybe Palhinha is the one that we would need a cover for, unless obviously he sees Gray as that person. I don't know. I don't know where he sees Bergvall at the moment.
I don't see. I keep hearing that he's a 10. Whenever I see him in the 10, I don't see he's got a creative bone in his body. If I'm honest,
he doesn't.
I don't see he's got that killer pass. I don't see he's got the shot. I don't see he's got the skill. I think this is the number 8. That he's going to struggle to get a number of games in the number 8 because of Bentancur. That's my own opinion, but
it's like the other problem we got in midfield, like you said there. Again, you're still going to get the people stick up for it, but basically, if we're in a Champions League game and we have to play Archie Gray on there, people say you're slagging off a youth player, you're being out of order. Bollocks. He was 40 million. And when he actually played a decent team, or when he actually played in midfield, should I say, he got absolutely destroyed every time. Okay, he covered his right back and his centre back as good as he could. Fair enough there, yeah. But if he is the cover for the middle, I don't even want him being picked for the team for the Champions League set, because I don't even think he is good enough as a centre mid yet to be a Premier League player. We went and played PSG, and he touched that ball once in 20 bloody minutes. Once. And this is what I'm saying is, how far low are we willing to go on a player, but it would still improve us on the depth that we've got with someone like Archie bloody Gray. Bergvall, do I want to see him in the first 11 against Real Madrid? No, I bloody don't. He's not ready yet. Okay, he's making progression and he's doing well. He needs to do a lot better on his final third of passing or having a shot on that. But again, he's not fully prepared. I mean, he's leaps and boundaries ahead of Archie Gray, and that just shows you how bad Gray has been. But again, would Bergvall be in your first 11 if you could pick an 11 there to play against Real Madrid?
No.
Or am I just being out to the young players now?
But you're not playing Madrid every single week in the Champions League. We have to have that balance, isn't it?
We're going to be at least playing 2 out of, or even 3 very good teams. This is Champions League now. This ain't Europa.
Yeah, but I know you say that, but obviously you are going to most likely meet one of your Bodo Glimt level team, or 2 of those teams out of the 5 that you play. Like if I'm looking at,
the way it's been changed. Sorry, fella, but the way it's been changed and everything now is to try and make sure that doesn't happen on a regular basis. You're always going to hit that lower team than you on there. But the way the Champions League has been changed now is that the big teams play the big teams from the start, basically, that you don't just get put in this
You
little
always
group.
play one big team. You always play one big team.
Yeah. Well, now it looks like you play at least two. It looks
Let's call it what it is, Dan. Dan, let's call it what it is. Against Burnley, you're going to get away with it.
Correct.
Yeah. I thought Bergvall and Gray, by the way, in that first half against Burnley struggled. I thought they really struggled.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing Burnley every week. To flip Manny's comment, yeah, you're not playing Real Madrid every week, but you're not playing Burnley every week. And would I want Archie Gray and Bergvall playing centre mid at the Hill?
Monaco, for example. Monaco.
No. Hang on, I'm not even going to that level. Would I want them playing at the Hill Dickinson Stadium against Everton, playing up against people like Idrissa Gueye and Decore, and not Decore, he's gone, hasn't he? Idrissa Gueye and oh god, they just signed 2 centre mids, and I can't even think who they are. Would I want that? No, I wouldn't, because people have got to forget there's a difference between being a good young player and being physically ready, being mature enough, being able to cope with the situation you're in. And I think when we play those games, it goes past Bergvall and Gray. It's not to say Bergvall won't be a very good footballer. I know people go mad in the chat. I've already seen it, Dan. Oh, he's 19, give him a rest. No, not saying he won't be a good player. But when you look at Aston Villa, for example, when Aston Villa don't play John McGinn, they've got Andre Onana coming in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
Aston Villa's central midfielders are what? Onana, McGinn, Kamara, and Tielemans. Look at those four.
Those two need to be playing in the lower levels of the League Cup, the League Cup, and the lower levels of the FA Cup. They can do a job. It's a very difficult conversation because we saw that they both improved in the second half, but they lost a year of development because they had to play and they had to play out of position. They need, against teams like Burnley, that's their level at the moment. They've now got to be coached. They've now got to be
played in his position. Bergvall got played in his position most of the time. It was just Archie Gray didn't, because he was good enough to get there.
I put Bergvall as more of a number 10 than a number 8, but that's me personally, and he was playing more of that number 8. It's a similar position. I'll grant you, it's a similar position. Whereas Gray was playing left back, centre back, right back. Rarely play. It's young players need to be like that. Those two. In when I grew up, you did see a few 19-year-olds play. You did, but they were bit part players. 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. We physically had to play. I saw improvement in that second half versus Burnley. Massive improvement at the second. It's only going to improve when he's coached into. But that's why it's great that we've got a bloke like Thomas Frank in charge who is going to coach them. Mm-hmm. This is why we need quality to help them through it. That's why I was delighted that a Paulinho was brought in, because in a game like Sava's example, Everton, I would be perfectly happy playing a Gray if he's next to a Paulinho, because Paulinho is going to do the majority of the work, and Gray is going to be working side being his wingman, and that's when you bring that level up and you can coach them to work through those scenarios. But we certainly need quality as well. I'm not gonna. Although at £40 million, of course, you can offset the Rodon deal back to Leeds for 15 million quid. So put that as a package deal together. It's more like 25 million. I know people are going to say he's on 75 grand a week. You can't. If he's on 75 grand a week, I am expecting big improvements from him. But play him next to a Paulinho. I think he'll get a lot better quickly. But this is why we need quality. You put even the class of 92. The class of 92, they had loads of young players, but they had loads of experienced quality around them. That's what we need.
You're already taking the quality out. You're basically saying that we don't need quality players in there, because if we're willing to go and play bloody Archie Gray, who ain't ready for the Premier League yet, and just because we've got Paulinho there, we're now basically saying that we don't need to replace him or get someone instead of him. And yeah, we do. I believe that sitting there with
I didn't say that. I said we do. That's why I said we do need quality. But
yeah, if
I'm happy against an Everton. We are a better team than Everton. We should be beating Everton. Our team's better than them. Yes, we finished 17th last year. We're a better team. We've got better players than Everton to do, in my opinion. Which is why we do need to rotate in some games. We are in full competition.
We have to rotate, but shouldn't we be able to rotate with something better than Archie Bloody Gray?
Yeah, but at some point you're gonna have to, like, you're
gonna have to blood him at some point.
Yeah, you can't just
have to blood him.
Do you know what? Then if you're gonna have to blood him, he should be out on bloody loan. And this is what we've argued all the time.
Yeah, maybe.
And if people are gonna say, do you know what? Tell you what, let's give all these kids a go in there and that. Then if they're that great, then why of them can't even get in the bloody first team over Tell and whatever and that? Yeah. If we've got to be so
Tell's not in the first team, Dan. Tell's not in the first team.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dan. Here,
Tell's in the squad.
Yeah, but
he's not in the first team, though. The first striker is Brennan Johnson. He's not in the team. He's not even third choice.
You've missed what I've said. You've totally missed what I've said. My point is, they're there. You're talking about bringing in youth players because we've got better players standing there for them to play next to. I agree with that. I personally think they should be out on loan. I don't even think we should even be in an option of when we're coming up. So I tell you what, if these kids are that great and you're willing to give that chance and that, then yeah. Then keep Gray there. Don't go and get someone better there, because if we do get someone better, there, then we'll never go. Let me finish. So if we do go and get someone there, then Gray just gets back to another place again, like he is anyway. He's number 7 in the picking order for centre mid. Yeah, I don't even think we should be in that situation.
Great.
Where we need to go like that. I would rather have him out on loan and get another good player that can fight for a place.
Hang on,
this is where I disagree with you on that one. I don't want to send Archie Gray out because Daniel Farker isn't like I would. If we're going to loan Gray out anywhere, it's going to be to Leeds, for example. I want Archie Gray to be learning.
He wouldn't even get in Leeds' team. He wouldn't even get in their first 11.
They wouldn't play him.
I think Can I say something? I think. Correct me if I'm missing your point. From sorry, I don't know your name. Tottenham on tour, I suppose.
You know me.
Ben, that's it. No, I've seen you. I've spoken to you multiple times, but I didn't know what your name. But Ben, correct me if I'm wrong on the point that you're making. You're not saying don't bring someone in because we've got Archie Gray. What you're saying is, yeah, bring people in, but we will need Archie Gray to learn from these experienced players. So when you do meet your Burnley, when you do meet the teams that supposedly we're supposed to be greater than, that's when you keep the spine of the team and then you give Gray a game here or there. I do understand the point that you're making, Dan, about putting him alone and him getting more game time. That's, again, those two are viable options, and those two do not negate the fact that we do need quality players regardless.
Can we call it for what it is, right? I'm going to make a point, and hopefully it's listened to by people in the chat rather than them just thinking that every time Danny and I talk about youth that we're putting it down. Let me see if I can hit the nail on the head with this one, right?
Go for it, mate.
Just before I do, there are 1,300 of you in here, and again, the likes are awful, guys. 360 likes. We should be getting to 700-800 likes with 1,300 people. Let me see if I can hit the nail on the head, right? When talking about players, not everything is cussing them. First and foremost, not everything is, if you don't think a kid is ready to play, oh, you hate the youth, you don't want them to play. It's ridiculous. Let's call this for what it is. If Spurs were a properly run football club with a plan in place, with ambition, we would not be having these conversations about which 18, 19-year-olds we're desperate to see play for Tottenham Hotspur. What we would be doing is talking about what quality players do we want to see playing each week because we've actually gone out and bought properly. However, Tottenham haven't done that. What we've done over the last few years, if you look at all of our central midfield signings, right, other than Bentancur, we have now ended up with Paulinho on loan, who's at the other end of the age scale.
Yeah.
And all the others are young. Sarr was bought at 17. Gray was bought at 18. Bergvall bought at 18. So what we've done is, rather than us being able to sit here as a football fan base and say, cool, which centre mid do we want to play today? Right? Which pro do we want to play today? What we're doing is arguing about which of the youth is better than the other youth. Right? Now, in an ideal world, a team that's in the Champions League doesn't have 3 players like Sarr, Gray and Bergvall all at the same time as in their group of 5 midfielders. You have one. You have one of them. 2 at a push if you've got 6. You don't have 3. So what we've got here, we've got to a state where we've paid 40 million for Archie Gray. So when people talk about loaning him out, we know it's not going to happen. We know it's not happening because 1, Spurs haven't bought enough depth in midfield to cover it. And 2, Spurs spent 40 million, whichever way you want to get that price with Roden or whatever. Spurs spent 40 million. You're not going to buy a bloke for 40 million and loan him out. Very rarely. So we're now in a position where we're sitting here going, right, where does Archie Gray fit in? Oh, well, where does Bergvall fit in? Well, hang on, what about Gray? Brilliant. Now we're in a position where we might have to play all 3 of them in one game. And if we get beaten, people will go, oh, we didn't back the manager. Those same fans that say we didn't back the manager are the same fans that are clambering for these young players to be playing week in, week out, right? It's the same fans that constantly are saying, can't believe we've loaned out all those kids to those championship teams. But where do you want them to play? We've already got loads of young kids. Where do you want the even younger kids to play? Right? We're already worrying. How does Tell get game time? How does Odeberg get game time? How does Kinski get game time? And Gray and Bergvall. But we want Frank to develop them. Sorry for the rant. We want him to develop them. Plus, we want to keep Donnelly. We want to keep Vuskovic. We want to keep Abbott. We want to keep Hall. We want to keep Lancashire and Devine. Where do they all play? This is not a Sunday league team. This is not a semi-pro team. We are Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League. Everyone needs to stop getting so emotional over young footballers. If they are good enough, they are old enough, right? Man City don't have loads and loads of young players at once in their team. In fact, this year, name me a young player Man City have in their team.
They've just sold most of them, haven't they?
They've sold most of them, right?
They've sold most of them this year.
Because they're not sentimental. And Nico O'Reilly seems to be the one that's coming through and getting game time off the bench. And Rico Lewis is starting games. He's been a pro now for 2-3 years, right? Look at Arsenal. Now, Arsenal have got Waneri, Dowman, and Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly, who's broken in, gone straight into the 11, right? Kept his place for the most part, right? And is now England's left back in the recent games for Tuchel.
Correct.
Waneri has to settle for a few appearances off the bench. And Dowman, let's be fair, when Eze's fit, when they're all fit, he's going to get less game time than people think, right? When you break this down, guys, Liverpool are not doing it either, right? But we want Spurs to do it. We want Spurs. Let's play Gray and Bergvall and Sarr and Tell and Odeberg and let's keep Vuskovic. What do we want to be? And I ran
and complain that we don't get Eze either.
Yeah. What do we want? No, you're cool. What do we want to be? Do we want to be a Champions League football club that gets back there again next year? Or do we want to be a sentimental fan base that crave for players like Archie Gray and Matisse Tell? Right? Do we want to crave for people like Bergvall, who are good, by the way? He's a good player. He's young. He's good. He needs to be nurtured. But straight away, Bergvall played for Spurs in the back half of last season. Oh, my God, he's generational. This boy's going to be the best player in the world. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. He's amazing. He's great. He's got to start. We have got to stop this. Why can't we be a fan base that want proper footballers? I don't care if they're 18. If you are in the Spurs squad, and I'll wrap the rant off here. Sorry, guys. If you are in the Spurs squad, I don't want to hear the answer of, but he's only 18 or 19. Well, Spurs went and paid for him. If Archie Gray, for example, starts and Tell starts, Spurs went and paid £80 million for those 2 players, right? When their performance isn't good, I don't want to hear, but they're young, right? I get it. When you bring a player through the academy, when you bring one player through the academy and you go 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, he's nervous, cool. We paid 80 million for these 2 young players. We paid 30 million for Odeberg, right? We paid money for these players to go into the first team. So, sorry, my overarching point is this. If we want to go and sign young players, everyone's got to stop complaining that they're young. right? And when they're critiqued, stop having a hissy fit that they're critiqued. We are Tottenham.
There's certainly too many of them. I would agree with you. We've got
the last thing there. Ben, I've got to go in 2 minutes. I'll say my bit. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Sav, I won't say it very often, mate. So don't get used to it. Well said. Well said, mate.
Just don't get it.
Simple as that. If people are going to sit there and accept that we're going to bring in Archie Gray against Everton to play alongside Paulinho, because Paulinho will teach Everton are more than capable of kicking our ass. Any team out there in the Premier League is. That's why the Premier League is the Premier League, because anyone can beat anyone, and it's not a gobsmack when they do. It's a bit of a shock at times, but that's it, yeah? I don't want to be having that risk. I want to be having a risk of bringing in a player who has got just as much capability or a lot closer to the capability of the player we're not playing now. So if people want to accept and defend all these young players, like us going for the young players and us getting Tell and Odegaard and Gray and Bergvall, and Bergvall is the one who has made the progress, not the others. But for me, still not ready for who I would personally have in a first 11 if I could pick an 11 team, and I don't know how many people would have him in there as such as a choice. And we are going to be playing teams like Real Madrid. We are going to be playing teams like Inter Milan, Juventus, whatever else in that, yeah? And if people are happy with these people and saying that we need to develop them by giving them game time and everything else, then we can't go and buy players, big players, that are going to take their place as such. I mean, Archie Gray is about 6th or 7th in the bloody picking anyway. He's behind Basuma and that, yeah? So if we're not...
I don't understand this point, Dan. I'm sorry, but I don't get the point.
Hang on, I've got to go. I'm basically saying what Sav is saying. So
no, you're not. It's totally different. It's totally different.
If we're willing to accept that we've got that as our backup player to come on there, well, then don't complain that we don't buy better players for those positions either.
No one said that they're supposed to be backups, though. No one said they're supposed to be backups.
I didn't say anyone on here said that, yeah?
Okay,
if you listen properly, Manny, Sava and me were basically just talking about what a majority on the chat say. When they defend, it wasn't aimed at you or even Ben in that aspect, yeah? I was just making a point that Ben made there. They are not ready yet. Put them out on loan for a year or two like a normal club does. But no, if we're going to accept that we have to milk in players like Gray, like Tell, like Odegaard and everything else in that, then don't complain when we don't go out there and buy players like Eze and don't put our money down for other players in that, yeah? What do you want? Do you want a youth academy team and a youth team coming through the system, like a little daycare, like someone just said? Or do you want us to go out there and pay 80 million, 70 million, 50 million either for a player that improves that 11 or improves that squad to the point that they can literally walk in, take Benton Core's place, and there isn't a massive drop, like where if you go and put Archie Gray there, you might as well push someone off a bloody cliff.
He's got a point, Manny. He's got a point.
No, but the point that you made, Saba, I think a lot of people are disregarding it, right? The fact that we've paid 40 million for this guy.
I've got to go anyway. I'll see you later on. Take care. Have a good day.
The way this hierarchy unfortunately works, Archie Gray is not going anywhere. We're not putting him out on loan, right? I agree. Unfortunately, in my opinion, the way we as a club should be operating is that we do bring in a cover for Paulinho, a cover for Benton Core, one person, let's just say one body. But at the same time, even if it doesn't have to be the Premier League, by the way, because we've got other cup competitions that we're playing in. So Gray will, at some point, he will have to be able to play. Like I'm not even talking about Tell and Odegaard, purely for the fact that the club has shown that they are looking for a left winger, regardless. So them being there is not stopping the hierarchy from going for a left winger. But at the moment, on the midfielder front, is absolutely quiet. And the way I'm looking at it, we should be bringing someone in, and we should be allowing Gray to play in the games that we think, like the Burnley game, that we think we're going to win. Now, if you're saying to me that those games are 3 in a season, then unfortunately you have to play 3 in the season in the Premier League and play some Carabao Cup games. And that's what the hierarchy has created the situation that the hierarchy has created, unfortunately.
Manny, I agree.
Yeah.
Manny, I completely agree with this point on you. Listen, I'm not blaming the fans for this. What I'm saying is it's okay as a fan. If I see my club buy a player for 40 million like Tell, right, perform.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want it to be. Let's be fair. Let's use Tell as the case in point. Let's not use Archie Gray, right? Let's use Tell, right? Spurs had the try before you buy. And how often in football do you get the try before you buy, right? You don't get it a lot. Spurs for 2 summers in a row, 2 years in a row, had the try before you buy. Werner, right?
Yeah.
We saw him do nothing on loan and went, we'll have you for another year. And then we thought, that's not enough. What we'll do is we'll see Tell do nothing on loan for 6 months, right? Yes, he works hard. I'm not knocking that, but Manny, you give me a couple of grand a week, I'm working hard and I'm 42. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm working hard and I'm getting myself fit to play, right? And then we've decided that we're going to drop 40 million on the lad. So if I'm buying a player from Bayern Munich for 40 million quid that we've had on loan to assess how good he is, now he's only 19 or 20, goes out the window. That goes out the window. He's been at Bayern Munich for a few years. We've had him on loan.
He's experienced enough. He should be experienced enough.
That 40 million pound player, what does it tell you when Brennan Johnson, who is not a left winger,
I was literally going to say that,
starts above him, and then Odegaard, right, comes on in front of him in the pecking order when the substitutions are made? What does that tell you? But rather than, do you know what I mean? We have a fan base. We're all, not all of us. We're very mixed, right? We're very mixed of our opinions. But rather than everyone going, what are we doing with the Tell? No, I like him. I think that's a good signing. Cool. Well, don't complain when money's not spent elsewhere. That's Dan's point. That's what I agree with him with. If you want to praise Gray at 40 million, not you.
Yeah.
What I was saying for the original part, we will be playing League Cup games and FA Cup games against lower level opposition. That's when you play. That's when you play them.
Sure,
we are playing for. We should be out. The overarching opinion: we should have both. We should have quality that are playing in the Premier League and the Champions League, and then you have enough squad and spine to bring in. You take off one, you put on a young kid, and then it doesn't affect the overarching team. It's like planes with 4 engines. If one engine goes, you've still got 3 to pick up the slack. The problem with Spurs is we have 4 engines out, and then we're expecting miracles because all 4. We should be able to have, but we shouldn't have bought Tell at all. Tell isn't good enough. We shouldn't have bought a striker that scored 1 goal in a season. Even if you're a striker playing for Bayern Munich and you only score 1 goal in a season, you're not good enough. The amount of chances Bayern Munich, mate, he's not good enough. I don't understand why.
Yeah, but can I say also that on Sabbath's point, Frank is also learning these things, right? Because we were leading 2-0 against PSG. He brought on Archie Gray and Tell and Solanke, and we lost the game because there was 1 no control, 2 Tell was not tracking his man back, right? He then went to City and we were winning 2-0, and he kept Tell on the bench. Because what's happening now is that Frank is realizing the players that he can actually rely on during the pressure moments. And Tell not being one of them is damning. It's damning. And that says all about that signing.
I wouldn't even say we lost the PSG game because of the midfield. We lost the game because we didn't have anyone. Because Solanke was awful. He came on. He wasn't fit. He was awful. Yep. He wasn't able to hold up the ball like Richarlison has been holding up the ball. The ball kept on coming back it's like throwing a ball against a wall. We're throwing the ball up. It was coming straight back. And also PSG are the best team in the world. So I'm not gonna. That's the reason we lost that. I wouldn't even say it was the midfield and how well they defended. We could have. PSG were always going to score 2 goals against us, but the game's done and dusted.
Can we call it what it is? Can we call it what it is, Ben? It's another year where it's just poor planning, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not it was last summer buying just youngsters, whether it's this summer with what we've done, it's another year with poor planning. And I get it. The fans can't control that, but I can control who I want to watch as a player. I can control my heart versus my head. My heart, right? might want to see Archie Gray because it's brilliant. It's a romantic story. A young player comes in from another club and we go, oh, look at him. He's brilliant. He's developed. My head, I don't give a shit. My head is what's best for Tottenham Hotspur, right? For 80 million, if I had given you guys, right? So 40 million for Gray, 40 million for Tell, right? 30 million for Odegaard?
38.
Right. All right. If I'm giving you guys 110 to 120 million, so find me a couple of top young players across Europe that would come to Tottenham Hotspur, and I'd come back and you would come back with Tell and Gray, I'm looking at you going, you haven't got a job here as a scout anymore.
You'd sack me. You'd sack me.
Now, if you come back to me and go, do you know what? Got this boy at Leeds, right? And think in 2-3 years he's going to be quality. Paid £12.5 million for him, right? Cool. Pay 12.5 million. You know, that's less than you paid for Bergvall, by the way. But the fact is Spurs went out and spent 40 million.
I think there's because there was competition, wasn't there? There was competition from Brentford. There was competition from.
And let Brentford have him and buy him when he
that was silly,
buy him when he's developed.
It was a silly. Even if you put the whole package together with Rodon going back for 15 million, there's no consistent transfer strategy. This is one thing we've agreed on for many, many years. There's no consistent 1 year we're doing this. It's because we've had more directors of football than most teams. Lang's been here a year and a half, almost 2 years now. He's going this summer. According to the reports, I'm not listening to IT until it happens. Apparently he's going this. The amount of times we change our director of football is embarrassing. We don't pick. I think we've only had one consistent one, and that was Frank Arneson, and that was 2001. For God's sake, it was a long time ago now. We've never had a consistent transfer strategy, which is why we never have consistent managers. We're going from attack into defensive. So we've got an unbalanced squad. So what we need to do now is we need to have a coherent philosophy of football for 4 years. Unfortunately, this is when it is going to be very nasty and painful. And that is 25 years of bad planning, 25 years of poor squad management, poor philosophy management, because we don't know what we are. We don't know. We say we're going to win. We want to try and win the league, and then bring in youth players. So there is no coherent message and coherent philosophy at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is the problem. It goes far beyond players and direct. We need to just have a consistent message. Are Tottenham Hotspur buying youth players? Cool. Do that for 5 years. Are we going to be going for the league? Okay, do that for 5 years. And then if it doesn't work, then you can pivot to another. But the problem is we're in, out, shake it all about. We're constantly changing we're going with the wind. There's no, this is what a Tottenham Hotspur player is.
But Ben,
that's what we need to establish in a philosophy, because we've done it again. We've gone from a gun-ho, overly attacking defenders and doesn't matter manager to a very tactical, very philosophical matter. We've gone from there to there again, and that is the problem with Tottenham. We're not continuing on a trend.
But I fully agree. I fully agree with what you're saying. Like it seems like every single time, a manager fails, they fail in inverted commas, depending on what you want to think about in terms of like your Contes, etc. Right? There seems to be a reset at boardroom level. There seems to be a reset at whatever level you want to, director of football level, etc. My issue with this summer has not necessarily been our philosophy in the transfer market, because again, I'll point out to the fact that getting Kudus, in my opinion, was a quality signing.
Yeah.
Improved that straight away, right? Paulinho, even though it was a loan, what it does at the moment, if you go to the Prem-proven sixes, the teams are quoting you 100 million, like Wharton, like Baleba. You've seen what's happening. So what they decided is, let's go for Paulinho. He will improve us automatically. He's already been in the Premier League for before. And then that's going to do is going to give us a bit of time to be able to then kick the can down the road in terms of signing a proper long-term six, right? Then we went for your Eze. Then we went for your Morgan Gibbs-White. Again, that strategy of Prem-proven, not just young, inexperienced, I fully agree with. What I don't agree with is the way we've gone about these things.
They were opportunistic. You know we didn't go with them. We didn't go with them because we knew they wanted to come to Tottenham. Exactly. We saw an opportunity to be able to pounce. And when one of the bigger clubs said, "Yeah, we're having that," we moved away because we were like, we thought we were the only horse in the race. So we thought, we'll strike while, like, a surprise strike. But then we don't do we don't like. I'm not mad if we sign. I think Paqueta is a good player for Spurs. That's a durable. We need to be signing durable players because at this rate, we finished 17th last year. We finished 17th. What we've got to do now is steady the ship. So we got to be buying reasonable players that get us incrementally up. And when we hit that level, then we can start. Okay, then we can start shooting for the stars. We need to be signing players that we can actually get rather than trying to shoot for the stars because we don't need world-class players, Tottenham. I don't understand why we always going for it and saying, it's not ambition, it's silly. We just need better. And it goes back to my point. We've got Johnson, Tell and Odegaard. We get Ademola Lookman. No-brainer signing. Jack Grealish, at the time, he's gone to Everton now. Someone said, stop talking about him. At the time, he was gettable. Better than all our players on the left-hand side. We should have got him. He's better. If we're there, go here. And then next year, we go there. And then we go...
Ben, if you do that, right, do you know what? Let's be fair. Like, let's use Lookman as the example. If you've got Lookman and Kudus as your two starting wingers, like, so when the first 11 are fit, these are your two. Fine. Then you've got Odegaard and Tell, just for argument's sake. Right. These are they come on the last 15 minutes if we need to, or they play in the League Cup games against the lesser teams or Burnley or whatever it may be. I've got no problem with that at all. Sensible. Like you said, I think when people use the word ambition, I think they use it wrong. Ambition isn't going for the world's best players. That's just silly. It's not going to happen. Ambition for me is go and get Lookman. That's ambitious. Yeah. Go and get Akliouche. That's an ambitious signing. It's France international now. I completely agree with you. I think we've got I just want Spurs to be sensible. This is probably the better way I could have put it. With relative ambition. Absolutely, Connor. Just the relative ambition that I know Spurs are going to make sensible signings. Now, hats off to the club. Kudus, Paulinho. Very sensible, good signings. Solid signings. Can't knock them for that. You will never hear me knocking that signing. Then you go and do Takai and you go, okay, well, that's an opportunistic one for down the line. Tell. Okay, right? You start looking at all these players, don't you? All these young players that keep signing. I don't think this needs to be that difficult. Go and get 4 or 5 Kudus, Paulinho level players. Doesn't all have to be bought. Maybe a couple on loan. Get just for example, before everyone loses their mind in the chat. Go and get Asensio. Go and get Lookman on the left. Get Asensio and Conor Gallagher on loan, and kick the can down the road. And then you've got Lookman, Asensio, and Kudus, and you've got Gallagher to add depth into midfield with Paulinho. And I'm going, fair enough, that's a good window.
But you know,
incremental increase of Sava. An increase is an increase. Yeah. The problem is Spurs fans want to go there. You don't do that in any way, shape, or form. Even let's different argument, different business, but I can only spend £500 on my 70 kilos of coffee. That's all I can afford. I'm a small business. I'm not going to go to my supplier, Falcon Coffee Suppliers, and ask for a coffee that costs £32 a kilo. That's going to cost me $3,000 a bag. I can't afford it. So if I want to get something better than 500, I go 600. And when I make enough money to then you do that. Then you do that. Spurs fans want to go there. You don't do that. You just
Yeah.
need
Can
little by little. And when you've got to the level, which if we get to the level, we're third and fourth every year, regular Champions League money's coming in every single season, like under Poch, then we can say, bang, that's when we can buy top quality player, 70 million, get him in. Because we know that money's coming in. That money's coming in, so we can do it. Spurs we are a rocky ship. So Johnson's here, Lookman's there. Small increase, bang, done. We need better player than it.
Great.
Can I say something? Because I just had that epiphany where it just made me sick for just 2 seconds, right? Because there were rumors at the time that obviously Chelsea were looking at Kudus whilst we were in conversation with West Ham. Had Chelsea sold Madueke quicker to Arsenal, we would have been in the same as a situation whereby we were not going to be quick enough, and then they would have got Kudus as well. And just thinking about the fact how Kudus has improved us, just that thought, just for 2 seconds, just made me sick. But the point stands, right? That is the point. The point is not going for that top level talent, because we know we're not there. We're not going to get that. Your Florian Wirtz, that spending that money, we're not going to get that. However, there is that level of category just below that we can get, that is gettable. Your Kudus, like, even, I know obviously now we're getting away from it, but your Savinho, your Lookman, all these players at that level below, that we should not be in a situation where we are 4 days away or 5 days away from the close of the window, and we are scrambling. Like, there've been loads floating about this window. That's the reason why the top teams have spent the amount of money that they've spent, is because the talent in this window has been available. It's not acceptable to be 4 days away from the window and look at the fact that we're found wanting again in a window where we're not even asking Spurs to spend the likes of money that Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, have spent. We're not asking for that, and we're still found ourselves in this situation. It's mind-boggling. It's genuinely mind-boggling to me.
Look, I'm going to leave it there. I want to do some super chats. I'll be honest, even I'm getting bored of Spurs right now. I'm bored of Spurs. We need news, and not Spurs are considering. With 5 days to go in the window, you don't consider, you do. You act, you do. Lots to talk about Xavi Simons again. Guys, if Chelsea can't get this over the line, I'm all over it. But what I don't want is another one where we're embarrassed, where we go in and then suddenly Chelsea move heaven and earth to finally get the deal done. But let me do some super chats and stuff. Big up to All Things Trucking. Thank you very much. Has become a new YouTube member. Watch out for the member-only show on Friday. Really appreciate you, my man. Thank you. And by the way, the Spurs review this week will be Saturday night, because Sunday at 7 a.m. I am flying out on holiday. Thank God. Big up to you. Thank you very much. All Things Trucking. Ryan has been a member for 5 months. Said as long as they walk into the first team and their quality, then I will take that. How's the dogs? The dogs are absolutely fine, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, we need players that walk into the first team. I don't want to see anyone signed this window now that doesn't walk straight into that first 11. That would be embarrassing at this stage. Big up to you, Ryan. Marios, big up to you. I believe that happy birthdays are in order for today. Is that right? I believe you've turned 18 today. If you have, happy birthday, my man, out there in Cyprus. Enjoy. Go and get drunk legally. Go and get legally drunk. It's a different type of drunk to the illegal drunk. Big up to you, Maros. Thank you very much. Tony Rodriguez to Kobe Mainu. Look, I think Kobe Mainu would be good squad depth, but again, right now,
if Basuma goes, I'm happy with Mainu, because Basuma's not in that first team at all. I'd rather have Mainu than Basuma.
I'm happy. I'd be happy with this if we get the winger done and the playmaker done. Correct. And then on the last day of the window, you bring in Mainu on loan for a year. I'm cool. Yes. If Mainu's the next one through the door, I really, really do worry. Big up to you, Tony. Big up to Phil Coys. So players can rekindle their form. Confidence is huge. sure. But when you sent this in when we were talking about Sancho, and Sancho hasn't rekindled his form for about 5 years, mate.
No.
There's a huge difference. Big up to you, Phil. Kusied said, what happens when Kudus and Sarr go to AFCON? Well,
I've heard Ghana are not going there. Ghana are not going to AFCON, apparently.
Unfortunately, I'm Ghanaian, and they're not.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Kudus isn't going to AFCON, so don't worry about that. When Sarr goes to AFCON, as I said, you've got to have some midfielders to cover it. You've got to have more midfielders. I said it. Big up to you, my man. Big up to Brandon Ritchie, who said, Sava, I don't know how you do this many transfer shows. I was bored of it all weeks ago. Journos are about as trustworthy as gigs at a family barbecue. Brandon, I think the key thing is, listen, people love their YouTube, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't get the views. People love their YouTube. We all love to, as much as we all complain about the journalists and the ITKs, we love it. We love the chat. Look at the row we just had about Jadon Sancho off the back of a nonsense rumor. It's brilliant. It's good fun. Big up to you, Brandon. Really appreciate that. And Emma Morton, big up to you. Said afternoon, Savran gang. Afternoon to you as well, Emma. Up there on T side. Big up to you. Hope you're well. Guys, girls, listen, I'll put the good vibes out there. Here's hoping that today is the day that Spurs get something done. Because as of this minute, there are 5 days, 6 hours, and 35 minutes to go. 5 days and 6 hours and 35 minutes. When it hits 7 p.m., we're down to 5 days exactly. Let that sink in. Manny, thank you very much. Enjoy your company as always. Ben, as always, I enjoy your company. Guys and girls, coming up to Christmas, if you can't afford the real thing in terms of football shirts, okjersey.com, really good replica shirts. It doesn't have to be Spurs, but Man United, Real Madrid. My mate ordered a Jamaica shirt the other day. He's Jamaican. He ordered a Jamaica shirt. There's all different types of shirts, and there's some retro ones as well. So if you like a bit of the Spurs from the 1980s, they've got that. Spurs from the 1990s, they've got that. Please scan the QR code, and when it asks for the coupon, just type in SAVA, SAVVA, 2 V's. Much love. I'm sending you over to Sean. When you get there, just type in #SavaRaid, Sean in the mud, just for a laugh. #SavaRaid, Sean's in the mud. Take care, much love, and as always, come on, you Spurs.